What if the person you trust the most is the one hurting you the most? A chilling question, yet it mirrors an unspoken reality that many children face daily: child abuse. Often this heinous act is perpetrated by those closest to the child, the people they should be able to trust implicitly, their family. It's a harsh reality that shatters the sanctity of what should be a safe haven. The complexity is further amplified when those aware of the abuse are entangled in a web of familial bonds torn between loyalty and the urgency to protect. This moral dilemma can lead to silence, leaving the child in an ongoing cycle of torment. The question then is not just about recognizing the abuse, but also about breaking the silence, about stepping up to protect the innocent. As a society, we must understand the signs to protect the vulnerable and voiceless. Child abuse is not always visible, but its signs are. Consider the children in your life. They may be your own, nieces, nephews, students, or even neighbors. A sudden change in their behavior can be a red flag. They might become withdrawn, fearful, or overly anxious. Their grades might drop, or they might lose interest in activities they once loved. Some may start having nightmares or trouble sleeping. Others might act out, becoming aggressive or disruptive. In addition to behavioral changes, look for unexplained injuries, bruises, burns, or cuts that they can't or won't explain. Some children might wear long sleeves or pants even in hot weather to hide these marks. Another sign to watch for is a child's fear of going home. They might linger at school or a friend's house, reluctant to return to their own. They might make up excuses or seem unusually anxious when it's time to leave. Some children may even run away from home, an act of desperation that should never be ignored. It's also important to note any drastic changes in hygiene or appearance. Children suffering from neglect might come to school hungry, wear dirty or inappropriate clothing, or lack basic care like dental or medical attention. While these signs alone do not confirm abuse, they can be indicators of a deeper problem. If you see a child exhibiting multiple signs, it might be more than just a rough patch. It's a call to action, a plea for help that shouldn't be overlooked. Remember, it's not about pointing fingers or making accusations. It's about ensuring the safety and well-being of a child. You might be the only one noticing these signs, the only one who can make a difference. Observing these signs can be the first step in helping a child in need. Physical signs of abuse can sometimes be the loudest silent cries for help. Let's delve into those physical indicators that could signify a child may be suffering from abuse. One of the most apparent signs is unexplained bruises. These could appear on any part of the body, but often they are found in places less likely to be injured during normal play, such as the back, neck, or thighs. It's essential to pay close attention when a child seems to have a constant series of bruises, especially if they appear in clusters or are in the shape of an object, such as a belt or a hand. Burns can also be an indicator of abuse. These might be caused by cigarettes, hot appliances, or scalding water, and can often be distinguished by their specific shapes or patterns. When a child has repeated burns or scalds that can't be logically explained by common childhood accidents, it's a red flag that warrants further investigation. Another physical sign could be fractures. These are less common but still significant. Fractures may be harder to detect, especially in very young children who may not be able to communicate their pain effectively. If a child has multiple fractures at different stages of healing, or if their X-rays show old fractures, this could indicate a pattern of ongoing abuse. Of course, these physical signs can sometimes be explained away. Children are naturally active and adventurous, and accidents happen. However, when injuries are frequent, severe, or patterned, it's crucial to look beyond the explanations. It's especially concerning if the explanations for the injuries are vague, inconsistent, or implausible. Always remember, an adult's responsibility is to ensure the safety and well-being of children. If a child's physical condition raises concern, it's better to err on the side of caution. Ask questions, seek professional advice, and, if necessary, report your suspicions to the appropriate authorities. The physical evidence of abuse is an urgent call to action. It's a plea that we, as caring adults, cannot ignore. We have a moral and legal obligation to protect children, and recognizing these physical signs of abuse is a critical first step. The scars on the inside are often deeper than those on the outside. This powerful statement holds true when it comes to understanding child abuse. It's not always about the external signs, but about the emotional and behavioral indicators that often go unnoticed. Children experiencing abuse may display a range of emotional and behavioral changes. These can be subtle, yet they provide valuable insight into their inner world, and more importantly, their cry for help. There's the child who suddenly becomes withdrawn, retreating into their shell, and distancing themselves from friends and family. This withdrawal can be a child's way of coping, of trying to protect themselves from further emotional pain. Then there's the child filled with unusual fear, anxiety, or apprehensiveness, especially towards certain individuals or situations. This disproportionate fear can be a sign that something is wrong. It's the fear of a child who feels unsafe, who is constantly on edge. We also see drastic changes in academic performance. A previously high-achieving student starts failing their classes, or a child who loves school suddenly dreads the thought of stepping into the classroom. These sudden shifts can be a cry for help, a signal that something is disturbing their mental peace. Look out for the child who seems older than their years, often referred to as parentified, taking on adult responsibilities and worries. This can be an indication of neglect, a form of child abuse that forces kids to grow up too fast. And we can't overlook the child who has sudden outbursts of anger or who displays aggressive behavior. This might be their only way to express the frustration and pain they're feeling inside. Remember, children may not have the vocabulary or emotional maturity to express what they're going through. They rely on us to pick up on these signs, to understand their silent pleas, and to take the necessary actions to help them. These emotional and behavioral signs can be subtle, yet they speak volumes about a child's cry for help. Let's ensure we're listening. Knowing is not enough. We must act. We've identified the signs, we've recognized the indicators, but what comes next might be the most crucial part of this entire process: reporting and protecting. Let's face it, this isn't an easy conversation to have, but it's a necessary one. If you suspect a child is being abused, the first step is to report it to the appropriate authorities. The local Child Protective Services Agency, police, or a child abuse hotline are all viable options. When reporting, it's crucial to provide as much detailed information as possible. This includes the child's name, age, address, and the reasons for your concerns. However, there are a few things to avoid when reporting child abuse. First, don't make accusations or assumptions without concrete evidence. Stick to the facts and let the professionals draw their conclusions. Second, don't confront the alleged abuser directly. This could potentially escalate the situation and put the child at further risk. Now, on to protection. While the authorities conduct their investigation, it's crucial to provide a safe and supportive environment for the child. This might mean offering your home as a temporary safe haven, or ensuring the child has access to counseling or therapy. Remember, it's not about taking over the role of parent or caregiver, but about providing stability and reassurance during a turbulent time. You might also consider involving a trusted adult in the child's life, like a teacher or coach who can provide additional support. But it's important to respect the child's privacy and not share details of the abuse with anyone not directly involved. Lastly, keep the lines of communication open. Encourage the child to express their feelings and fears, and reassure them that they are not alone. Listen actively and empathetically, and remind them that it's okay to feel however they're feeling. Your courage to report can be the lifeline a child desperately needs. By stepping up, by taking action, you could be the difference between a child continuing to suffer in silence and a child finding the strength to reclaim their life. We have a collective responsibility to protect our children. It's a weighty matter, but one that we're all capable of carrying. We've delved into the unspoken reality of child abuse, shedding light on how to recognize the signs. The physical indicators aren't always as clear as a bruise or a cut, and the emotional and behavioral signs can be even more difficult to discern. But with vigilance, we can identify them. The act of reporting abuse is not about pointing fingers, but about guarding the well-being of a child. Fear should never stop us from voicing our concerns. We must foster courage, not just for ourselves, but for those who cannot speak up. Let's carry this knowledge forward, sharing it with others and educating them about the signs of abuse. Remember, your voice could be the one that saves a child from suffering. Together, we can create a safer world for our children, one report at a time.